No, I'm serious.
What is it that you see? Raise your hand, please. Come on, help me out. Lauren, get started. You see roots. Okay. What else is it that you see? Yeah.
Layers.
You see layers. Awesome. Go. Rocks.
Like different colors, like ombre.
It is kind of, right? Yeah. There are some different, it kind of fades from like a dark to a medium and then this kind of tannish color. Yeah, there's a lot of interesting stuff going on.
Can I say Maddie's answer?
You just tell me what you see, friend.
Okay. He said unsaturated and saturated.
Oh.
It was very good.
Now, I have a question though. Do we have any evidence that this is saturated versus unsaturated?
No. Well, actually, the grass is green above it.
So the grass is green above it, which means that the grass is getting sufficient water, right? And sufficient nutrients and sufficient sunlight, right? That's the things that those plants need. Is the water, or excuse me, is the soil right below where grass grows, is that saturated? Do you know what saturated means? No, it doesn't mean wet. It means so full that it cannot hold any more. So is it saturated with water? Could it hold more water? It can absolutely hold more water. Probably all of this can hold more water. The saturated zone, when we're talking about our kind of our layers, is going to be down pretty low where that water table is. The way you can think about it, remember when we were talking about water? We were talking about groundwater. I really want to make sure you're paying attention, so put your calendar away, okay? It's just really distracting to me. So remember we talked about groundwater? We talked about when you had to drill down, and then that's where you'd get a well, right? Where you can tap in and where you can get a well. That's where it's saturated. So I'm glad that we brought this question up because I want to make sure if you dig down a few inches, do you get a well? Probably not, right? Probably if there was saturated zone here, and I'm really glad that we're having this conversation, but if we dug down and there was saturated water here or saturated soil, then there would be water that would be creeping up into this space. Does that make sense? There would be water up here. So what part of this is, or let me ask, is this saturated or unsaturated? It's unsaturated, but it still may very well be moist, right? It still may very well have liquid in it, but that doesn't mean necessarily that it's saturated. We're going to make sure that we write down that definition. You should all write down that definition too. I'm writing the test. I'm going to remember this conversation. So remember that saturated means that it's full, cannot hold more. In this case, when we're talking about saturated with water, cannot hold more water. And absolutely, we could hold more water in this part of the soil.
Wait, would we be able to like on the calendar? We're gonna be able, if that's like a picture or something.
Yeah.
Would we be able to see if it's saturated or not?
I don't know that you would be able to unless you saw a pool of water down. Does that make sense? Like, because you would dig and then you'd be able to draw water up.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Yeah. So generally when we're talking about the layers of soil, we're not going to get down deep enough to hit the water table. Yeah, because that's going down really, really far. Okay? But absolutely, there are definitely roots in here. How low do the roots go? Do they go all the way down? No. The roots go down just to maybe like here-ish, right? Maybe like here-ish, depending on the roots we're talking about. You see some layers? How many distinct layers do you see? I think 3. Like there's a big dark layer here, right? Then this kind of tannish layer, and then the light brown layer, for sure. Where do you see the rocks mostly?
Top part. There's like dark brown.
What's that? I'm sorry, Hannah.
Yeah.
I'm just. Can you share with me what your thought was? Oh, so you're saying they're like 4 layers? 1, 2.
Yeah, the brown.
Okay, so I'm going to talk to Michaela because I can't figure out exactly what's going on. Michaela, can you tell me how many layers you're advocating for? 5 layers. Is that what you're saying? So you're saying like 1 and then 2 here? 3, 4, 5? Okay, so one thing that I would say, and I don't know, because I don't know the exact specifics of this particular image and this particular sample, my guess is that a lot of this is just kind of a mixing, because it might not be distinct layers, right? That's not how things kind of lay down, but there's probably some mixing that happens here and some mixing that happens here. So I think that there are probably 3 layers. You might be able to argue one of those. I don't know for sure though. But I think I can see where you're coming from there. Yeah. Okay. So you remember what we did on Friday, yeah? Do you remember Friday? What did we do on Friday? We did our soil sample outside, right? So you took your soil core thing and you went outside and you got a soil core and you saw maybe some layers in there. So true story. This is kind of an ironic, timing twist. My husband has been really excited about putting in a basketball hoop for my daughter to play on and for him to play on our driveway. And so instead of paying somebody else to do it, he's like, I'm gonna dig this hole and put the anchor in. So he had to dig a hole 48 inches deep. That's deep, right? So he took Friday afternoon off and decided to dig this hole. And I got home and I'm like, holy cow, it's a big hole. And you know what I saw when I looked into that hole? I did not see water because we hadn't tapped down all the way that far. But I did see some crazy cool layers. I did. Of course I did. Come on. Of course I did. So you can kind of see the perspective is hard here because it was only like 16 inches by 16. I couldn't I couldn't see a really nice thing. So this is the top. There's the grass up there. So this is the topsoil that had been laid down when they built our subdivision. Okay. This right here, this is gravel that they put down when they put down our driveway. If you've ever watched a house being built, they have to prepare a whole big area where they then put the driveway. So that's actually from that. And then there are some distinct layers here. So there's kind of a dark layer, then it's kind of sandy. So I live down, do you guys know where Terry Trueblood is? Way down far south? Okay. So the huge development that is all of our neighborhood is called Sand Hill Estates. That's what, it's if you look on Google Maps, that's what they call it. It's not official, but that's, and I was like, why do they call it that? Because there's a huge layer of sand that it's everywhere. And I was like, whoa, because you don't see it, but there's a huge layer of sand. And then below that, there's this really, really, really clay filled dirt or soil, excuse me. So it's really interesting. We saw these layers. I was like, whoa, that's awesome. So then, of course, the next thing I did was what, Haley? I didn't take more pictures. We took some samples, yeah. So my kids helped me out to get some. I didn't have beakers at home, but we just got some plastic cups to make our little sample. So I was like, okay, crush it up, just like you guys did. Remember, Friday afternoon, you were doing this, so you get to live vicariously through my children, right? So we had all these samples, and my daughter was like, I'm laying all of them out. I don't know why she did that, except for to make a huge mess and make her dad a little bit frustrated. And then they crumbled them up into these cups. And then we added some water, and we added some dish soap, and we stirred them around, just like you guys did. I didn't use a ruler this time. I used a table knife, but same kind of idea. And I thought I had a picture of them doing that, but I didn't. But I actually took 4 different samples from 4 different heights. So 4 different layers of soil there. And then this is what I got. So, and we're going to go look at yours in just a minute, but this is just from 2 of the layers. But you can see how they kind of have settled out into some different layers on there. And that's what we're going to talk about today. Okay. So these layers and the layers that you're going to see in your beakers are not the same layers as the layers of the soil. Okay. But the layers that you're going to see are the layers that describe what kinds of things are in the soil so that we can classify the soil. Right now, we are going to take a few notes. So I gave you a green sheet of paper. If you're not a notes sheet person and you want to do this on separate paper, by all means, make yourself at home. Go grab that piece of paper. Otherwise, right here, this is where we're going to start. Okay? I've got a little slide presentation that I'm going to use to present this to you all. So here we go. We are going to talk about what we call soil profiles. A lot of this stuff came from the Soil Science Society of America. We were talking this morning, and one of the teachers was like, a lot of people are like, whatever, but you know what? There might be a few of you in here that either get super excited about this. Yeah, I actually didn't make this, but whoever did cite their sources, because yeah, we did not make this. This is useful stuff regardless of whether or not you're going to be an earth scientist or someone that goes into agriculture or someone that goes into horticulture or someone that just plants stuff in their yard, right? This is stuff that's interesting for all of those people. So just a few little things here. We looked at another one of this. This is another soil profile. We can kind of see some different layers here. We asked this question already. What do you see? What's different from top to bottom? What can you tell me about what's different from top to bottom in this one? Got the layers, got the roots, got the rocks, right? How deep do those roots go? It's like about 20, whatever that was, centimeters, I'm guessing. All right. These are the big three. You'll notice in your notes that there are 3 definitions at the top. They're right here. Do you have to write them word for word? No. But do I want you to get the big idea? Absolutely. A soil profile is a vertical section of soil extending through all of the horizons and into the parent material. So the key words here, I don't know if you can see that. You can't. I can't draw on there. It's a vertical section, so it goes up and down, okay? Through all of the horizons. You're saying, what's a horizon? That's the next one, right? Into the parent material. So that's the picture like I took from the big hole that was dug next to my driveway, okay? Although it didn't go all the way down to the parent material. We'll talk about what that means in a minute. What's a soil horizon, you ask? Good question. It's one layer. They're just about parallel to the surface, and it has properties that are different from those things above or below. So the profile is a bunch of layers put together, and each layer is called a horizon. The layers themselves are defined as something that was deposited by a geologic force. So the soil is laid down, and then the horizons are created by some sort of process as they're put together, and the profile is all of them together. Kind of a lot of words, and I know sometimes when you're just copying down words, it gets a little bit cumbersome. Once you have written out each of those definitions, I would like you to read them again and underline the important words. What are the important words, the things that make a soil profile unique? What are the important words, the things that make the horizon unique? And then finally, what are the things that make the soil layer unique? Okay. Read through your definition and underline those key words. As you're finishing up, go ahead and talk to your table mates real quick. What are the things that you underlined for each of them? For profile, horizon, and layer. Have a quick conversation there. All right, my friends. All right, David, can you tell me what did your table highlight or note in the soil profile? What did you guys say?
Vertical section.
Yep, so it's the vertical section, right? Oops, let me go back here. It's a vertical section. What else? Yep, so it goes through all of the horizons, right? All of them. Make sure you underline that all. Everybody got that? All right. Let's see. Gracie B, what did you guys say this about the soil horizons? What was the important stuff? Okay. They're produced by soil-forming processes. You might say, well, I don't know what those are. Stay tuned. On Thursday or on Wednesday, we'll go through those, right? The soil-forming processes. On Thursday, I keep saying Thursday. On Wednesday, we'll go through that. What else is important about the soil horizon itself?
It's parallel to the surface.
They're just about parallel to the surface. So they're layers that go like this, right? And then what's different about a soil? Oh, I'm sorry, Con, you were going to say something.
I was going to say the properties are different depending on where
Absolutely. From one horizon to the next, the properties are different. So that's different. That's interesting that you have different properties in each of those layers, which is why I kind of think when we were looking at that profile before, we kind of go from one to another. I think that those are kind of distinct things. And then the soil layer, what's unique about a soil layer? Yeah.
I said it's deposited by geological force.
Yes, so it's those forces we've talked about, right? Wind, water, glaciers, oceans. We've talked about all of those. This is all coming kind of full circle from all of that stuff, the water, the erosion, and all of that we've talked about earlier in the year. It's all here. It is. All right. So you've got your picture is not quite as something as this one, but you've got some boxes. Do you see those boxes? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them. And we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 layers here. So in the boxes, I'd like you to put in these funny letters. The letters are in a funny order. They don't make a lot of sense. But we're going to go ahead and write them down. O, and then write the description as well. O is called humus. It's not like the chickpea spread that you like to put on your falafel, okay? Humus or organics. That's at the very, very top. Decomposing leaves and lots of organic matter. Do you remember what organic means? Does anybody remember what the word organic means?
It's
Natural. It was living, right? Yeah. Yeah, it was living at some point. Underneath that humus is level A or layer A. That is the topsoil. Lots of roots, lots of minerals for growing plants. Generally, if you dig a hole, like if you have a garden and you're digging to plant a seed or something like that, you're digging into the topsoil. The next layer is labeled letter B. It is the subsoil. The minerals that start in that topsoil, they go down to the subsoil. It's about as far down as they go. And we'll get some more details of these in just a moment as well. But I just want you to be aware of what these things are. Layer C is called the parent material. The parent material is what soil is developed from. And then layer R is bedrock. This presentation has a lot of different details about all of these layers. I'm not going to spend a ton of time doing that right now, but I do want to show you a couple of things. But I want to just make sure everybody's finished writing first. So I'm going to watch for pencils to be put down here. The order of these layers is a little bit funny. My best way to remember this, I'll show you a mnemonic in a minute, but I think it's kind of confusing. O can stand for organic. Yep, organic's at the top. And then you got A, B, and C. And then the last one is layer R. How do you remember the R? Bedrock, right? So you got O and then A, B, C, R. It's a little bit funny, the orders of those, but they are all right. Can I go ahead and click ahead? Is that all right with everybody? We okay? All right. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time here because I don't want to. Oops. Oh yeah. Okay. So here are our layers. There we go. So just in this little picture here, you can see 3 of those layers, right? You've got your organics. Okay. Your A, B, and C in there. Hold on just a second. Yep. So this one up here is A. What was A? Topsoil. And topsoil doesn't, in this picture, does not go down very far. Sometimes topsoil goes down pretty far, especially in Iowa, right? We've got some really good, really nice, thick topsoil. So that's our A. What was this? This is B. Subsoil. So that's that sandy stuff, some of that clay. And then down here, C is what? That's the parent material. Yep. Oh, I guess I should click through faster. There we go. Ding, ding. Let's keep going. I don't know why we're doing this again. Oh, okay. We got this. Some geologists thought that this was a really great mnemonic device. You guys know what mnemonic means, right? To keep it in your brain. Our aunt bakes cookies regularly. If that works for you, awesome. If it just is easier to remember this is organics, then it's ABC, and then it's rock, that's fine too. But if you want to use that mnemonic device, write it down. Our aunt bakes cookies regularly. Helps if you have an aunt that bakes cookies regularly. I don't know if you do or not. What's that?
Sister.
Yeah, but you can't say sister, because then it would be OSB, and then it's messed up. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah.